analog map.
Well,
As
it's not.
it's
It's just not digital. I mean, it's paper.
It's a paper
It's
map.
not analog.
It's analog. I mean, it used to be a log because it was a tree first. See how we figured
That's
that out?
true.
That's science.
Wow. It all connects.
Wow. It's been too long. It's been a while since we've had the old podcast going. How you feeling?
Oh, I feel good, KG3. It's a whole new level. It's the next iteration of what is to come, the glorious manifestation of his goodness. The amount of testimonies that are now coming through me from basically the dreams that he has had me harbor in my heart for the last 10 to 15 years. They've been all coming true in the last 12 months and in increasing amplified fashion, where each one outdoes the previous one like a staircase of awesomeness. And where it's headed now is even a stronger trajectory of experience than what I had before in terms of excitement, enjoyment, peace, and the favorable developments that I've always wanted to experience, but thought I had to control it myself. I thought I had to become financially free. I thought I had to have a certain lifestyle that would then enable me and empower me to have these experiences. But that mentality was the very mentality that caused me to hit my capitulation moment of despair, where everything crumbled, whether it was my business life or my love life. I didn't even have a spiritual life at that point. I went into a place of my rock bottom. But then it all changed from there. And since then, since I was able to actually have my thinking shifted, where I don't want to control things anymore, I simply want to receive everything that he has for me. And by he, I mean Jesus specifically, because he's the author and finisher of our faith. So he is bringing us experiences in quantum format where we're rendering those sequence of events into an actual experience that shapes our character, shapes our attitude. And then as our character and attitude is shaped, we receive different experiences. And when we put our hope on him and trust him for his story for us, that's when he validates our salvation story. And he does that by continually convincing us that we can trust him unconditionally. So it's a very pleasant process, and it's ever increasing because every single moment is used for our good in terms of us being developed into him. And as we develop into him, we get greater and greater scenarios that are kingdom-like expressions of life on earth with challenges that test our faith. But as we pass those challenges, that's when we super level up. And then once again, we get overwhelmed with every form of grace to the point where we have everything we need in every single moment for the rest of our lives. It's kind of a big deal.
It is a big deal.
I would say it's the biggest of deals. Like if there is one thing, if there is one approach on life that I think makes the biggest difference when it comes to quality of life, including our circumstances, this is it.
Well, challenges are always presented to us, and I saw one recently as I'm going through finally filming my feature film. I've had nothing but challenges and obstacles be put in my way, and if it wasn't for reading the Bible and knowing that it's when you ask for things, it's almost you're asking for adversity by asking for things, because you want, it's like if it's like, oh, so you want this to be made, you want this done, well, let's see what your resolve is. And there will be things put in your way, because as I've been filming, I have had to do so many repairs on my vehicle. I have had so many appliances in my home just start to die out on me, and I have to get them replaced. I was off work for a while because I was in a car accident. The weather has been so crazy that I can't film on certain days. There are certain days where cast and crew can't make it. I just had my DOP had a horrible family situation. Nothing but love and prayers for him and his family. So he had to fly back home. And so we had to put pause on the film. But everything we have captured on camera is spectacular. It's everything I would want the movie to look like and sound like and be. So here it is. This moment of challenge where, now I can't quote who said it, but there was a meme I read recently and I loved it. Because it just hit me real hard because it's what I'm going through. It said, you can give up or you can keep pushing through. Either way, it's gonna hurt.
Mm.
And what a
Might as well
beautiful
embrace the
truth.
pain.
Exactly. It's gonna hurt either way. And because there's moments where I'm like, should I just stop doing the movie? But I can't. I'm gonna see
Mm.
this movie through, and it will be finished. It just when it will be completed, that is now a new timeline, and I'm willing to embrace the new timeline. And I know that as long as I just have faith, it'll get done. And I do have faith it will get
Pow.
done. Pow.
Pow. See, that's
Pow.
the stuff, right? I love that because that perfectly illustrates the faith test in the book of James, where it talks about consider it nothing but blessings when you face such trials in your life, because you know that through it, your endurance of faith will be increased. And what happens when our faith increases in its endurance? We have more perseverance, which then brings greater results
Mm-hmm.
as we break through the barriers of the things that were trying to hold us back from what God wants for us. Because He has this incredible story. There's a perfect story that has been specifically written for each of us individually that gives us a sequence of events of everything that He has in overwhelming abundance for us. However, there's a caveat. It takes an attitude of trust, unconditional trust, in order to unlock that sequence of events. This is the path unto life. A life that gives us everything we need in every moment, in every way,
Mm-hmm.
at all times. But it's only activated as we come from a place of trust. So, in order to get that trust, we have to go through challenging circumstances that challenge our level of trust. It says, is this actually going to work out this time? Is He actually going to say what He does and lead me into victory through this challenging scenario? Because He promised that. He promised that I will hear His voice and I will follow Him, and that He has come to give me life in abundance. That's a promise. If I trust that just a little bit more this time, will that bring even greater results? And that is a promise. However, it's not easy, because we always get the measure of challenge that we're ready for.
That's right.
Just like working out in a gym, you got to increase the weights.
Yep.
And if you're ready for larger weights, you need to have those larger weights in
You
order
have
to
to,
grow.
and you
So
have
this is
to. That's right. You have to always add the weight on. Otherwise, you'll plateau, and honestly, you will start to weaken. Because if you stay
right.
where you're at, it's not the fact that you can't keep lifting that same weight consistently, but your body actually mentally and physically goes, this weight is still your heaviest weight, so you're treating it like it's a heavy weight. The most fascinating
Mm-hmm.
thing I ever had was when I wanted to reach bench pressing 225, and I used to be able to do it back in college, back in the football days, but I dropped away from the gym in the sense of heavy weights for so long, and when I got back, I remember I could barely get 185 up 3 times. So I had a long road ahead, and I kept pushing myself and pushing myself, and I got to the point where I was doing 185 10 times in a row, no problem. I got to 225, and I could get one up. I was happy, and then I was able to get three up. I was happy, and I was like, I want to get to 10, just like I did 185, and I plateaued. And it's because when I got to 10 on 185, it wasn't because I kept doing 185 a bunch of times. I started to add more weight, which made 185 lighter, both mentally and physically. I didn't do that with 225. So the next time I went to do 225, instead of just doing 225, I just added 5 pounds on each side, so it was 235. And I was able to get that up, and I was like, nice, I was able to do it. Very good. And it's almost like a trick in your body, or just how it's meant to be, because the next time I did 225, right after that, I was able to get up 4 times. No problem. Just there it is. And
Right.
it's all just, you have to push. No matter what, you have to keep pushing past. If you stay where you're at, you plateau. And it's not the fact that you can't stay comfortable, you can't be happy at the plateau, but you can't expect more, and you can't expect change to take place where you stay. And the change that will
Mm.
happen won't actually be your surroundings, it will be you. Because it will always be you that changes in wherever you stay. It's never the place, it's always you that will change. Because it's your attitude towards it. My
But
thoughts.
then isn't it funny how we change our attitude and approach on life, and suddenly we find ourselves in completely new scenarios and
Oh,
situations?
always. Always. You want to talk about say force. I'll just keep coming back to the movie because it's very present in my life right now. I'll use this last weekend as the example. It was supposed to be the first weekend that we were going to go film the outdoor scenes out in Panther Paintball. And it was the five group members of the group. They're camping and hunting Bigfoot, and that's the premise, right? And we had this amazing location set up for this weekend and next weekend to film outside. And what happens this weekend? But for the first time in weeks on a weekend, not just a rainfall, but we had an atmospheric river come through. The entire place flooded, like everywhere, like every city here was just underwater. And so I could have forced everyone and been like, hey, this is my movie, you're getting paid, you're going to meet me out there, we're going to film this. But of course I did not. I instead chose to reinterpret the situation, look at my schedule, and say, hey, we got some indoor scenes here. Let's just film the indoor scenes. So yesterday, we filmed the indoor scenes, and we got amazing footage, a great performance from our cast, and the crew was amazing. And then today, I was thinking, all right, maybe if the weather's better, we'll head out today. Weather's not better. And also, from how awful the atmospheric rain was yesterday, or atmospheric river with all the rain and the runoff from the mountain, we would be walking around in slop. Like it'd be so muddy and just that's not fair to equipment, to crew, to cast, and then of course all these little things start happening around because my DOP had to leave the country. So he's probably on the plane right now. Safe travels to him. And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, next weekend, what are we gonna do? Our DOP isn't here, and here's the thing: when one thing is dropped, another is always or one door closes and another door opens, as they say. Because what happened yesterday? You may ask. You didn't ask, but I'm gonna tell you.
I'm asking.
The pilot I booked as an actor said next weekend, the 26th, the 27th, they want to do a table, or not a table, they want to do a cast walkthrough. And I'm thinking, I have my movie set to be filming that day. But this is something I booked and promised I would do back in the day. So now I have a conflicting thing. My passion project or something that I committed to months ago. What happens? I think I gotta film my movie. I have to. This is the ego talking, right? I gotta get this movie done. I have all these people and I've put so much time and effort and money into this. Now my DOP can't be there. It's supposed to do this atmospheric river again next weekend. I shouldn't say it's supposed to. It's just gonna rain. It's gonna rain again next weekend. And now I'm thinking to myself, still from the ego, I'm going, I want this movie made. I want to go out and film. But I've already been given the go ahead to say, just take a step back. You got great footage already. Why don't you do your best to just edit that and use that to maybe even sell to some investors that you got something here and they can help you finance the rest of the movie when the weather's better, and go to this thing that you committed to months ago that you're also very excited for because technically that is your first major acting role that you booked. I get to actually have my cake and eat it too because this movie will be made, it will be filmed. Just now it will be filmed when the weather and the timing is right for cast and crew. Whereas with this other one, it's already being presented to me as this is low effort in the sense of you don't have to focus on how this is going to get made. All you have to do is focus on giving your best performance. And that's something that I came out here to do, is to be an actor. And here I am complaining that I can't make my film at the same time I'm being given an opportunity as an actor.
Good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have. There it is. Thank you. That's how I feel. And that's where it lands, is it's a good problem to have because it's not a problem.
It's a huge blessing.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing on both ends because my movie will be made when the weather is right and when the cast and crew are healthy and happy and, well, who knows about happy, but healthy and able. And when it comes to this other production, what a blessing it was to have the opportunity to audition, be told you did the right job, we want you as the part, and they're giving me the opportunity. So it's quite the time in KG3's life. Some interesting things.
Two things.
Two things. Two big ones. Two big passions.
Two things. Well, no, two things
Oh, two
that I
things.
need to say about this.
Peace.
Two things are coming to mind right now that I think you are illustrating in your story quite profoundly, and that is a harmonized approach in terms of what is best for everyone here and trusting that there's a timing of efficiency and optimal sequence of events for things to play out. Even though you may not know what that looks like in full yet, you're being adaptable and you're trusting the process along the way and not demanding that it has to be a certain way.
Yeah.
So that's exercising a level of faith. And now that's also being tested because it's forcing you to activate that faith, which tells me that you're being leveled up in it as you align with it, which will bring you even more of what God wants to give you because now you're even more like Christ. Christ is always operating in faith and he's always operating in love at all times. And as we do that, we are able to receive more without being spoiled. Because the worst thing that can happen to us is entitlement and arrogance and saying that I did this, to take on that Luciferian line of thinking of saying that I'm the one, I'm the difference maker, I will achieve. Instead, as we witness him giving us all of the circumstances and the opportunities to have our character be honed into one where we're loving people, we're putting people first, and we're trusting God with his process of how he wants things to go. Now he can give us more without risking making us entitled and arrogant because we stay in that state of humility, knowing that it's coming from him. And so that's happening in your story, which is very exciting to me because that tells me that what's next for you is something you haven't experienced before because you're at a place you've never been before.
Yeah.
And you're still being upgraded.
Ha! Love it. Well, it's. I'll tell you one thing you said there that really it made it where I have to respond to this. You said you're realizing that it's a group effort and it's not just about me, not about I. You're so on to something with that because I could easily say, yeah, my DOP isn't around. I could still finish this. I easily could just take my camera and go film it, but I'll tell you how he sees color through a lens is beyond me. He just like I'll tell him what I want to see, and he says, "Yeah, that's a good idea. Can I add this to it?" And he shows me and does it, and it's just he sees things that I don't. He sees my vision in where I see my vision on a piece of paper. He sees it in a third dimension. Do you know what I mean? So I could go and say, "He's not here. Save some money. Just go film it myself." It will not come out the same. I've started something with him and the rest, and this does not diminish anyone else on the crew. Everyone is so amazing at what they do. I've surrounded myself with amazingly competent and very talented people in sound, in lighting, in acting. It would be so arrogant of me to say I could go do this on my own. And I could, but to have it be at the quality that this is at, forget it. I understand that this is a group effort, and I am very blessed to have the group around me. So it is worth the wait. Very blessed
To have them around you, because I feel like there's two lines of thinking there, and one is better than the other. Just like when you answer a test from Transport Canada to become a pilot, there's always two right answers, but one's a little more right than the other one. So in this scenario, I see two possible answers being, one, I have done a really good job in being able to hire and be patient and be diligent with the team that is now surrounding me because they're perfect. They're everything I could ever hope for. And I'm really glad that I had the character to be able to actually bring that into my life. Mm-hmm. That's one way of thinking, which is the normal way of thinking. I mean, that's how we experience it to be. But another level, I think, would be I am so incredibly blessed that God's authorship for my life included each one of these people to ensure that they are with me in this time of my life when I need them the most. And we are going to make something so incredible together. And it's all because of what he has placed into my life, including the script, the people, and the character that he's already carved into me for this very moment to be able to actually pull it off. One gives all of the credit to him as the author, which causes our interpretation to see each person as a specific and individualized gift that was predestined to make us succeed. And that, I think, is a little more powerful simply because we receive them as a gift and not something that we've earned. So that puts us into a default state of humility at that point. The more that we're able to perceive reality as God gifting everything that's good into our lives for us, the more resilient we can be from entitlement and arrogance, because he's the source of everything. And I think that's the key, because there's numerous places in Scripture where it says the humble will be lifted up, but the arrogant will be destroyed.
Yes.
And I've seen this cycle in my life where whenever I become arrogant in my thinking and I do something that I think is a pretty great achievement, that very thing gets taken out of my life. No matter how I approach it and how hard I try to keep it, it doesn't work. However, when I allow myself to be humbled in that specific area in my life, suddenly I'm redeemed in my circumstances. And these things are just seemingly installing themselves into my life in a very beautiful way that just elicits a sense of appreciation, because I didn't even earn it. But as I stay humble, it stays in my life. But if I get arrogant again, boom, taken away. And then this cycle keeps on happening. So, and then, I mean, Jesus even said, the humble will be lifted up and the arrogant will be brought down. So he probably knows what he's talking about when it comes to the cycles.
I would think so.
I would think so. So humility, it is absolutely one of the pillars of a Christ-like attitude and character. So the more that we can exercise that in our approach, like you are doing so beautifully, the more extraordinary our circumstances become, because he wants to give us everything. We inherit the entire universe and every dimension that has ever been created. We have no idea what we have accessible to us after this life. We are given everything. That's how valuable it is to have this persona, because it's this persona that activates all those things coming into our lives. It activates the abundance. It activates the overwhelming gifts that he wants to give us. But we need to have the character and attitude to handle it.
That's right. Beautifully said.
KG3, I'm pumped.
Yes, this map.
What's next for you?
I want to see this map.
It brings me to this.
Okay, yeah, you brought it up, and I said, wait, we're not rolling yet.
So this is a visual navigation chart.
Okay,
this is used for, flying around the area and being able to navigate. So here, what you can see, this is a flight path, this line.
Okay.
And this basically works as a metaphor for how I think life works. And so we're born at the very beginning of our lifeline right here. And our destiny is this track all the way to the end. And so this track, what it measures is not only our circumstances, but it also gives us our attitude and character development. Right at the very end, that is our destination of being developed into Christ, because we are being transfigured into his perfect image and likeness. That is what's taking place at all times. As we're born, we have a default area as to where our mind is at and where our soul is at, and we need to be developed. Now, this line right here, this is the predestined path that our Father has specifically written for us, which is a perfect life. And it is something that overwhelms us with his abundance and with everything that he wants to give us. But this track has a requirement, and the requirement to experience that track is unconditional trust.
Yes, absolute
unconditional
faith.
Trust, absolute faith. And here's the thing about that, that's something that's learned. We don't have that right away. That has to be developed into us. So we learn how to navigate as we're born. Our little airplane takes off, and we're all over the place. We're getting hit by crosswinds. We're getting hit by weather. We're flying in the clouds, and we have no idea what's going on. But we always seem to find our way back, because a little voice inside of our heads helps make us become aware that we need to make a correction. We need to change something about our behavior. We need to change something about our thinking. And so
Yeah.
we oscillate.
Mm.
And we oscillate along this line as we go through life. And every single area here that's outside of the line is a completely different circumstance and sequence of events. And quite often we have no idea where we're going or what's happening. We're just flying around randomly.
I don't
However,
I don't mean to oscillate your conversation, but you use the word oscillate, and this is just a random thing I'm gonna say, but it's just so true. There's a tool I use in construction called the oscillator, and it is probably one of the smartest tools ever invented. That's all I have to say. Continue.
excellent. I like it. Well, there comes a point when we become more mature. And in that moment that we're led to the discovery that Jesus Christ is real, that he is God, and that he has a spirit that's available to be inside of our hearts. And when we invite his spirit in, the Holy Spirit into our hearts, suddenly we have been given a super navigation system. Where no longer are we flying alone, but we actually have a co-pilot who is able to navigate us perfectly by making all the transmissions that enable us to get right back on track again. So let's say we hit some crosswinds and we're drifting way over here. That is when all of a sudden we're able to recognize, whoa, we're off track here. And we've been off track for this long, which means we need to turn our heading this direction for that duration. And then that puts us right back on track again. And so there's a heading correction that takes place. Whenever we're off track and we're aware of it, there's a heading correction. And in this scenario, there is a secret password, a secret line of thinking that will always point us in the most efficient path all the way back to our track of trust, which is our optimal predestined life of goodness. And that heading is an attitude of praise.
Ah.
If we can be in a state of appreciation where we say, thank you, Jesus, we automatically then become pointed in the most efficient path that brings us right back on track with its unique set of events that lead us all the way there. Because the Holy Spirit's here praying, we're over here, but there's an oscillation between the two that then makes a harmonic sequence of events that leads us directly and perfectly all the way back to the track of trust. And it's always through the heading of praise.
Yes.
Because we come into his presence through praise. It's the password that gets us through the gates. And that then gives us his strategies, his thoughts, that then cultivate and prime the desires inside of us to act in alignment with things that he's predestined for us to do, which then just brings life into our story.
Very nice.
And it happens automatically. But when we intentionally are at the place where we're like, okay, I want to simply focus on what you have for me. And I want to yield my thoughts over to your thoughts. And when we can see and perceive all the things that he's done in our moment and is going to be doing for our future, then every single moment we are validating the notion that we're living our salvation story. We are living with the creator and king of the universe who has a predestined path of goodness for me to experience life in abundance with him. It becomes an unshakable state. And it starts by understanding that we receive our life and everything that's good, as opposed to I achieve my life and everything that's good.
Say that right before you said I achieved my life. What did you say right before that?
I receive
I receive my life, not achieve my life. I like that because that also lines up exactly with essentially meditation and what's the terminology I'm looking for? Where you like before you receive it, you're already there. Manifestation. It lines up heavily with manifestation, and like where you're receiving, you're already feeling blessed for the gifts you have yet to receive in the physical world, but you know they're on their way because you trust in the plan of God and Jesus. It's wonderful. I love it.
Faith is the evidence of things unseen,
Yeah, it's interesting
the
too how you said
evidence
with
of
the
things
map.
hoped for.
It's interesting with your map how you stated we don't start with faith, but I think there's a an interesting thing is, yeah, it is something I guess learned for sure, but we do have faith from, and this is me not remembering my earliest memories as a young babe, but when we're young and children, we have faith that if we cry out, our parents will come. We have a notion that if we need the parental figures, that our faith is that they will be there, and then from there we learn more so that there is more than just our parents. There's our family, and there's more than family. There's pets. There's more than pets. There's a community. Then there's a society. Then there's a world, and then of course there's a creator of all of it. Our faith is something, like you said, maybe it's not. It is. I think you said it was taught. Yeah, it's something taught, but not
Developed.
necessarily. Yeah, it's developed, but and it's developed not just through verbal conversation. It's developed through just the actual life experience. And people want to say it's just like, oh, there's no one has like faith isn't real, God isn't real. Yet they themselves still have experienced both in their upbringing and their entire life, but they just want to deny the fact that they're denying their reality, which I find interesting, to say the least.
Well, I mean, it's yeah, there would have to be a baseline of faith that we start out with, because
Yeah,
otherwise, why would we cry out for our parents? We're crying out in faith that they're going to respond and come to us. So there's a
yeah,
moment where it's the first time we act on it, but when we cry out for them and they come, this validates our faith,
hmm
which develops it further and becomes learned behavior.
yeah. I
And
heard
so that's how it consistently can be built.
here's an interesting one. We always see death as a sad occurrence, and it is for us on a personal level because we lost someone that we truly care about, we love. There's, I want to say it was the Vikings. The Vikings would, when a baby was born, a baby cries as it comes into the world. They would cry out with the baby. And the reason they would cry out with the baby is because they're going, oh, dude, you're here. You're going to suffer. Yeah, you better cry. It's about to get rough. And then when people would die, they would celebrate because they're celebrating, yes, you did it. You're going back to God. You're going back to Valhalla. Congrats, you did it. You're back in like peace and harmony. You've left this hellish world. And I find that
Amazing.
kind of fun. I just find that a fun state of living and being because it's not denying reality, because life is suffering, and that's not a negative. It just is a fact. Even the smallest little bits, getting out of bed sometimes is just, oh man, I'm sore. That's suffering. It's not a heavy suffering, but it's still a suffering. And then we have these little glimpses of beautiful, happy, amazing times. And it's also things that we can tune into and stay at the entire way through. But there will always be things around us in the world that are constantly trying to remind you that it's like you're here while you're here. You will experience both no matter what. And it is all about faith that will allow you to garner the strength to get to the Almighty. It's faith that will take you to a higher state, a higher place, a better place. And it's through faith that just, like, man, love, happiness, and harmony can always be your baseline. And if you don't try to strive for those things and you just allow the suffering that is of this world to manipulate you, because it is just manipulation, because you can take it as, oh, it's like yeah, like say it's the soreness. Oh, I'm sore. I guess I should stretch. You stretch, you feel better. Or, oh, I'm sore. Oh, my day is going to suck because I'm sore. Well, now you put yourself in that state. It's all of the state. You are going to
Hmm.
feel the suffering no matter what, but it's how you interpret it and interact with it that will determine your faith to go higher or to stay where you are or to go lower or oscillate.
Well, plus how painful it's going to be, because if we just have an unconditional state of acceptance of perceiving something as something that's actually beneficial, though it's challenging,
Mm.
but we know that there's going to be something of great value on the other side, well, suddenly there's a hopeful expectation that there's going to be a treasure at the
Yeah.
end of this.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's a trust that we know that we're going to be led through it victoriously, well, that means there's not going to be any doubt, there's not going to be any fear. If we truly have a trust that knows that it's going to be good.
Yeah.
And so that also minimizes the amount of suffering, because now um, the mental faculties are liberated.
Yeah.
They're not caught in downward spirals of what if this happens? What about that? What if this?
The
And
what
that's
ifs will
really
kill you.
more torture than anything.
The what ifs
usually.
will kill you, yes. If you're in a constant state of what ifs, oof, those, we've all been there. I've been there far too many times, and they are not fun. I find myself, if I ever feel myself going into the what ifs, I'm always I shut that down immediately now, because it's just, get out of here. You're of no use to me.
It's not the voice. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Then there's
Yeah.
the ones
No.
where what ifs have turned into one days for me, in a way. Like, instead of going, oh, what if that happens? It's just like, it's more, I stay on the positive track of it just, no, one day it will be. And whenever it is, I'm grateful. Just the attitude of grateful. And also, I'll bring it up again. You had that one a few podcasts back where you said, close your eyes, see yourself smiling, and you smile. That is a beautiful state to be able to put yourself in. And I find myself, when I get into moments of worry, I'll just say, like, will things turn out how not necessarily how I need them to be, but how I want them to be, you know? And if I'm trying to, like, I want this to work out this way, I want my movie to stay on schedule, I want the cast and crew to just, not in a forceful way, but in a harmonious, let's get this done way, just, like, show up on time, do as you're told, be there. And I'm saying that, and I probably sound like kind of an asshole by saying it, but I'll tell you, they all have been. They've all been there. They've all showed up. They've all been amazing. And they're nothing but amazing, talented people. But each day leading up, those thoughts and worries pop in my head. Because I have so much of my energy going into this project that I'm also, you want to talk about faith, I have so much faith that everyone is going to continually show up and be as invested as I am. And when I say as invested, I don't mean they have to have the same passion towards it as I do, but there's always this fear of, and fear, that old chestnut, of that wants to, like, make me think someone's eventually gonna almost be like, hey, I don't know if I like what this guy's doing anymore. I don't think I want to be a part of this project, and just leaves the project. And you know what's interesting is that did happen. That happened at the very start of it. We did a table read. One of the actors said, "This ain't for me, man." And, like, it was literally the day after we did the table read. He was one of the main characters, and he's like, I can't do this. I don't see your vision. I don't understand it. Don't want to be a part of it. And the first instinct I had was, it's going to be a domino effect. Who's next? But then the very next thought kind of went like this. Like, that thought was going like this. And then the other thought, I'm going to set my coffee down to do a visual. This thought of, like, oh no, who's next? This other thought went, this guy can replace him. And I recast the role. And the guy I recast is, like, everyone else has been amazing. Say they love the script, have to be a part of it. But this guy I recast, whereas the one I originally had the part for said, I don't get it. I don't understand what you were going for here. He constantly is saying, I love this character. I understand what you're going for, and it makes me so happy that I get to play it. And it's just the exact opposite. But if I had let that first domino effect thought continue, I wouldn't have even gone as far as I have right now. And also, by recasting that particular player within the film, he has allowed us to get a wonderful location that we have already filmed and wrapped out of. That when I was looking at other places, that would have been $5,000 just for one day. Whereas we got to film at his location twice for free. So not only was he recast, and as an actor, you can't replace the other guy. He's a great performer. But as a character, this guy was made to play this role. Like the who's been recast,
Mm.
he was made to play it. He just has the look, the feel of this character. He really has it nailed down. And through knowing him and everything, he has allowed the film to take on a whole new set of life that otherwise would have been a financial burden, which is, it's amazing how things like that can just work out. Same with our lead actor. I could have easily just used my own apartment for the film, but I've already filmed in here for Cloud Van. I filmed in here for Please Look Away, and just to use my place again, I've done that so many times where I've used my apartment as the location for something, and as much as like I like my place, I don't like using it as a set deck because it feels. I don't want to say it feels cheap because it's not. It's utilizing your space, but it feels like it's not the right cheat. Whereas yesterday when we were filming, I could have filmed here, but we chose to film at the lead actor's apartment. Who he's like, yeah, no, my place is great for it, and it really was because it fit the character with who he was playing. Right, it just fits his character's motivation and place where he is in the story so much better than if he's in my place. Because he is it's a very nice place, but it's a 1 bedroom and it's a bit smaller than mine, where mine's 2 bedroom and just it looks too much. It has too much space to it, and honestly, too many electronics in it. It makes it seem more like a family home compared to a single man living home,
Mm.
and that is what the character required. And so again, blessed to just have someone say, "Yeah, use my space." Again, free set deck that is pivotal to not just the character but the story, and also, and again, I can't stress enough the vision of myself and the crew bringing to life these spaces that reflect the film so well. And for me, man, my faith right now when it comes to this film is that my faith is purely trusting in the process and trusting that the people around me want to see my vision through. And that's been proven to me time and time again by the people around me who we have now started the production and have been moving forward. They've all been nothing but positive and just into it,
Mm.
which really makes me feel good about it. Because there, even when it, and then when it comes to cast, we have had so many moments where people are going, "This is a lot of pages. You're wanting to film a lot in a short period of time," and it's not even me bringing it up. It's other cast members going, "We should just do a table read online. Let's just like get together online because everyone can like link in on WhatsApp and stuff, and like we can all see each other, and let's do a script read." So it's not just me trying to get everyone together to get stuff like working and flowing better. The cast themselves want to get together a couple times a week, going over the script, so they when they show up to set, they're good. The fact that they want to put the time and effort into it when it's not their time on set, my goodness,
Mm.
like it's a wonderful feeling.
Mm.
And then moments,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna riff off because this has been
Hit
it's
me.
been a while, my friend. They even moments like this last Friday, the prosthetics for the Bigfoot were supposed to be ready, and the the woman who was making them, very talented individual, very talented. Sound like Trump there. Such a good person, very talented, most talented probably in the world. um, she gets a hold of me and says, "Hey, what time do you need these on Saturday? Because I'm not gonna have them done tonight." And I'm thinking, "What do you mean you're not gonna have them done? We scheduled them to be done for now, and I gave this project to you a month ago."
Mm.
And so she says I can have them to you for like 10 a.m. on Saturday. To have it ready at 10 a.m. makes no sense for us because we need to start filming at 8 a.m. and Bigfoot would need to be in costume. But then again, that's also the weekend that we just had where there was the atmospheric river. We weren't going to be filming the Bigfoot stuff anyway. So isn't it
Oh,
fascinating that I couldn't even have prosthetics ready for the day I wanted to film Bigfoot anyway, as the atmospheric river comes through. And now she says, okay, I can have it to you on Saturday, but I have this other project that, and this is, again, this happens a lot in the indie world. She works on major motion pictures, like $1 million productions, right? Like hundreds of millions of dollars. So she's going to go where the money is, which is understandable. She's doing something for me. Again, I will call it as even though I'm paying her and it's not cheap, but as a favor because she's making for me probably what would cost maybe like 6 times as much for the grander
hmm.
industry. So she's giving me a deal to do my indie world Bigfoot. And she's like, I can have it ready for you on. She's like, I was like, oh well, we're not gonna be filming because of the weather anyway. She's like, I can have it ready for you on Monday, and she says, which makes me feel better about it because now I can take my time with it, and when I paint it, I can make the painting look really good. She's like, I'll make it look very good for you. And so it's just, yeah, now instead of a rushed product ready on the Saturday, it will be a perfected product available for whenever we go to film. It's
Mm.
still gonna get done. It wasn't on time. Just like so many things to do with this production, it won't be on my timeline, but it's still gonna get done and get done properly. So my timeline, what an ego to have to say my timeline is when things need to be done. When God says, I got a timeline for you, it's gonna get done. And that, especially in since starting this production, has been a continuous lesson, and I've enjoyed every second of it. Because the first
Mm.
day we were at the bar scene, we didn't get everything filmed, and he's like, "Yeah, my boss said we can film in there for the day, but we can only film between the hours of 11 and 4 p.m. because everything in the morning there was a breakfast they have, and then from 4 p.m. tonight that's when the bar opens and like they're open for business. So we had 5 hours to film. I think it was 7 pages, 5 or 7 pages, and like that's a lot. That's a lot in the film world, as you know. And we didn't get it done in the first day. So I, at 4 o'clock, I called it. I looked at him and I said, "Can you ask your boss if we can come back next Saturday to finish this off?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll get a hold of him." I wait for a lot. Hey, there's a squirrel in the bush. I wait for a lot of the squirrel. I wait for during the week, and he gets a hold of me. He says, "Yeah, go ahead, have fun." We are able to get back in. We get not only do we get what I was hoping to get, but we get more because we decided, hey, we're already here. Let's get a little bit more just interaction with the group in the bar, just to show their camaraderie. And we get so much more than what I even wanted on the first day going in. And then we go to our second location, and one of our actors said he has to be gone by 9. And that was always known. And 9 o'clock is slowly approaching, and we have not gotten everything done. He comes up to me and says, "You know what? I'm gonna call my coworker. Yeah, if he's available to take my shift, he's gonna take it, and I'll stay and finish this because I want." And he looks at me and he says, "Because I want this to look good. I believe in this. I want it to be done." He goes, calls his buddy. Buddy says, "Yeah, I'll take your shift." He's able to stay. It's not even that much longer. We finish everything. We're wrapped by 10:30. But the fact that he says, "No, I see what's happening and I see what you're doing and I want to finish it." So these first 2 weekends, what blessings again to have people around me who, when things aren't going on a timeline, say, "Hey, let's just make the timeline work a different way." And it gets worked a different way. Same thing with this last weekend. We were supposed to film yesterday and today out in the woods. Can't do it. That's all right. We filmed yesterday in the apartment. Today we'll take off. Not only were we gonna take today off regardless, it ends up being a time when, even if I was like, "Yeah, no, we're gonna film today no matter what," DOP couldn't be here. The timeline is his timeline. Our timeline means nothing. You just be, you wait, you be patient, and things will get done. Have faith. Have faith they'll get done, because they will. Ah, Praise Jesus.
That
Love.
sounds like yes. So then when it comes to the approach, what if we had the approach where one of the elements were I am going to need to exercise adaptability. Guaranteed. That's part of the purpose is adaptability. And it serves two critical and beautiful services. One, it challenges our faith, which then allows us to be grown and upgraded in our faith. But two, it allows us to receive a better circumstance than we were thinking of.
Yes.
How many times have things come to us in a way where our problems work themselves out in a way we weren't even thinking and gives us an even better situation than we were expecting?
Ah, yes.
And if we have the approach of expecting that we're going to have to be adaptable to receive the right thoughts and the right strategies, suddenly there's no longer resistance to any obstacles. Whenever there is some kind of an obstacle, that is seen now as a beautiful opportunity to receive better thoughts that gives us even better situations than we were previously entertaining.
Yes.
Adaptability.
Adaptability.
It's one of the factors for the ideal approach. In fact, I mean, I keep on saying approach because when you're flying an airplane and you're coming in for a landing, it really all revolves around a good harmonized approach. Nice and stable, you're on a nice consistent rail, and you're able to anticipate what is likely to come next, including downdrafts and updrafts. And if there's any crosswinds, being able to adjust for that and be able to adapt instantly to gusts and unexpected situations. But the quicker that you can adapt to some kind of a distortion and get right back on that rail, on that perfect descent path, the better off your landing will be. It's all in the approach. And so if we have a certain approach towards our every moment, that will allow us to harmonize with that every moment and receive the best version of that moment that God has for us to prove to us that one, he loves us and that he is the provider.
Yes.
That he is actually the source of everything that could be good in our lives. And so the majority of our experiences are simply him trying to convince us that we're loved. And those are typically very beneficial and beautiful experiences because love is always beautiful and always gives us the best. Thankfully, the challenging moments, they're the minority. The vast majority of our moments are simply God telling us that he loves us.
Yes.
And that he's providing for us and that he's continually protecting us. It's just often we don't see it. We just adapt to it. It's the norm.
We have to look for it. God is always there and waiting, but we have to go to him. Always there.
Yeah, it would take the predisposition of wanting to experience more of him in order for us to really come into the recognition of receiving more of him.
Yes.
Because we're looking for it. I mean, there's always the anomaly where all of a sudden you have those big flash moments, or if you have this supernatural experience that you weren't looking for and it just changes everything. But typically, the experience is more so, I think, what you just said, where it's intentional. We're intentionally looking to experience more of who he is and what he has for us and how he wants us to be, him through us, to the degree where it's no longer us that lives, but it's him living through us. And that takes a lot of convincing. That takes a lot of validations that he is with us, because the world tells us that we're separate. And the experience kind of is pretty strong in suggesting that we're alone in this thing. But that's never actually the case. That's actually just the illusion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's the tricky part.
Well, it's a part of the lesson. And away he goes. Oh, and he's back. Oh. Can you hear me?
I hear music. There we go.
Oh.
Now are we back?
Oh, I can hear you. You're still there. I searched for you, and here you are.
Basically, my sister called me, and now it's not working.
Oh, I can see you perfectly fine.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about ending it here?
Sure.
KG3?
I mean, hey, I'm all right with that. I think we had a wonderful conversation. It was great to get back to this. It's been a while, so I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. You know, is it raining out there for you?
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
normal rain,
Yeah,
just your
like
standard 2 millimeters in an hour kind of a thing.
fair
Not
enough.
like 2 feet in a day.
Oh, it was. Did you see any of the videos of like the rain
I saw
coming
a
down the
little bit.
streets? Holy
Yeah.
cow! Oh, yeah. West Vancouver just. I mean, you wanted that waterfront property. You definitely got it
Mm,
now.
yikes.
Yeah,
Yeah, in
it's
the form
crazy.
of a waterfall.
No kidding. Some of the what's crazy is like I've built decks out there and all these beautiful homes and just like that, this. Now that's not to say like I have no idea. I'm curious to know what the damage will be like. I'm
Mm.
sure people are gonna be sending it in, but yeah, weather. Can't
For
control
your
it,
place,
or can
you're
they?
not underwater, eh? You still
No,
have
not.
a driveway and a parking lot.
Yeah, still got a driveway in a parking lot. Not underwater this time. I remember when I was living in Port Coquitlam, the place I was at before this one. There was a day where the underground flooded, and my
Mm.
storage locker and my vehicle were underwater. Not by like that much water, right? But still enough where in the storage locker I had some things get ruined. But I learned my lesson from that time because now I don't leave anything cardboard or anything of that nature on the ground, right? Everything is above. Like I have it like on like stilts, so no matter what is on the ground, there's at least like a foot and a half to 2 feet of like leeway in case water gets in there. Now you
Mm.
learn, you live and learn, my friend.
Ah, yes.
You adapt.
Adaptability.
That's right. Oh, I think there was something else I wanted to touch on, but I can't think of it. So yeah, like you said, we'll just
Mm.
call it here, my friend.
Ah, very good.
Yes, a
Well,
pleasure as
KG3,
always.
I hope that the rest of the week gives you have more filming to do this week, or is it just your acting gig that you're doing?
It's my acting gig on the weekend, and the one thing that I will be filming, is I saw a part of the storyline in the movie is Bigfoot has 1 foot bigger than the other, just for a visual joke, and I rented these realistic Bigfoot feet from this guy in Washington, and they're here, they're hilarious, and so they have to be back. I was planning to film the Bigfoot stuff this weekend, like this weekend that we're in, and the next weekend. Now I can't film either of them. So the only thing I can do is at least capture the visual joke of the feet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna I'm going to film a bunch of stuff just to do with the feet, so I can place it into the film because it'll be the type of shots where if I can match it to the location, it's insert shots that no one will pick up on. You've been in film enough where you'd be like, hey, that it's just like, hey, I remember filming that over there, but now they're over here, right? As long as it looks like it can match, that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So that's where
It can be
that will be
adapted.
done. It can be adapted, exactly. Uh, LA5,
KG3.
pleasure's always my friend. Enjoy your day.
You as well, and I hope your week goes splendidly and your acting gig comes together in such a phenomenal way that you even outdo yourself and where you think your ability is at.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that a lot. And also, we wouldn't have said it on here. Congratulations on your aviation test. I saw that. Very good.
Ah, yes, thank
Congrats.
you very much.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, it's a beautiful gift to receive. I'm a
It
big
really
fan.
is.
The big mountain flight should be coming soon. I'm going to the mountains,
Ah,
do a mountain check ride, so then my chief can give me permission to just go anywhere in the mountains with his airplane.
wow. Wow. Well, I look forward to hearing you yeah, getting those opportunities and them coming your way, and I know you'll do great.
Thank you, KG3.
Have a great week.